Yo, I just woke up from the fattest nap, bro. I've been sleeping like the last couple of days, the last 2 days have been my days off. So like I've really gotten the chance to relax, sleep. Like and thing about my days off is like even on my days off, I'm still working. There's still something that I have to do. Like right now I'm trying to plan a soccer tournament. There's lots of things that I'm trying to do. So like trying to balance this with YouTube is kind of hard. Like I'm not going to lie. I also drop good videos for you guys. But at the same time, I want to focus on my business as well. And dropping good videos, it takes time. It means that I actually have to sit down and plan. So because of that, your boy, like I don't be getting as much sleep as I would like, and everything is just a bit so serious now. Like me getting older and everything, trying to like achieve all my dreams and all my goals, bro. It's getting hard, but anyways, I'm coming through with a story time for you guys today. Stay tuned. Alright, bro, so before I even get too deep into the story time, before I even start the story time, do you know what I want you guys to do? I want you guys to hit that subscribe button. Subscribe, because the main reason why I'm doing these story times, besides the fact that I love making YouTube videos, I want to reach 100,000 YouTube subs, you guys. That is a dream of mine. I want to hold the YouTube plaque. As you can see, it's back there. I've shown you guys a couple of times. Let's zoom in. You see what that says? It says I have 100,000 YouTube subs. So the least you can do for me is subscribe. It goes a long way. But anyways, this is a story time on how I don't even know what to title this story time, you guys. Like it's a very, very interesting one, because what happened was it was this older lady, how like a story time on how this older lady was hitting on me, and it just caught me by surprise because like I didn't think that older women were into younger guys, like, and this has happened to me about twice with older women, or maybe like 5 times, but this one time it was very aggressive, for an older woman. Like I would say that like I think I'm a handsome looking guy, I'm a handsome looking guy, I think I have some pull. Maybe I'm not the tallest guy, but I'm a handsome looking guy, and I be attracting grannies. Maybe I don't attract girls that are in their 20s, because the girls in their 20s are getting flown out and getting big money from all these big men. But I be attracting some women every now and then. But anyways, let's get into the story time. So basically what happened was I randomly, and it's so random. So there was this one time I was going through my phone. I was going through my contact list and I was like, oh, I haven't spoken to this person in a while. And you guys may be thinking who this person is. So basically, I live in Canada. If you didn't know in my last videos, now you know in this video. I live in Canada and I did 2 years of high school here. I moved from Nigeria. What happened was I stayed in a boarding school. So basically we had dorm staff, so like the dorm staff were in charge of like coordinating events, coordinating like the time that you go to bed, because like I said, I stayed in a boarding school and it was quite strict. I was very, very close friends with one of the dorm staff, His name is, I can give out his name. His name is Jared, Jared and I were like this. Anytime I felt bad, he would give me advice. He's a bit older than I am, If I'm 24, he might be 31 right now. So there's that age gap, I've never had an older brother, So Jared, back in the day, he was my older brother, you guys. He would give me advice on life, on going to uni, going to college, girls, things like that, how to be a better person. So I I hit up Jared. I was like, yo, Jared, it's been a long ass time. How have you been? You know, like, I miss you and I hope you're doing good. And he said, yo, Dayo, it's been so long. How are you doing? I think that he didn't know that I had his number, you know, because like you're not allowed to like keep in contact with your students, you know, if you still work in the school, because apparently that shit is weird. The school doesn't like it, society doesn't like it. But hey, Jared is my dogs, you know. I'm happy that I got his number. I'm happy that I kept in contact with him. But anyways, Jared then said, Dayo, let's go out to dinner. Let's go out and hang out, you know. Let's go out to get food, you know. And I'm like, yeah, for sure, you know. You guys, I'm not the richest guy out there, you know. Every now and then, you know, if someone is going to offer me a free meal, I'm going to say yes, because like I said, you know, your boy is still grinding. I'm still trying to make some plays. I'm still trying to make some moves so that I can be in the position to take people out to dinner myself. So Jared came all the way. I think he doesn't stay in my city, you know, he stays in another city. So he drove down from his city. I think he stays in Niagara right now. He drove down from Niagara to Hamilton, picked me up, and you know, we went to some bar. You know, it was a random bar. Even I've never been to the bar, but you know, we went and we were just chilling. You know, we got some food. You know, I got a drink. He doesn't drink, so you know, he had some he had a Diet Pepsi or something like that, you know. He's on the bigger side, you know, but he's trying to lose weight. But anyways, we're just sitting down, chopping it up, talking about life. You know, he's talking about like how he started his new business and like how things are going good for him. He told me about like how much he was making back in the day and how much he makes now. He's doing good for himself, and I'm like, yo, that's great. I'm telling him about my own business and things that I want to achieve, and he's telling me about like how that is superb and nice. But anyways, let's get into the story, because this is where things start to happen. Okay, Jared and I were just sitting down talking, you know, and next to us were these young women. I think they came for like a bridal party, or I forget what it's called, you know, like you guys know what it's called. They came for a bridal party and they're all dancing, they're drunk, they're having fun, you know. And you know, you guys, I'm not much of a dancer, you know. I be shy sometimes, so I wasn't really dancing. But I will say that one thing that I noticed was I was probably the youngest person at this bar. Yeah, everybody else seemed to be like 25 and above, 26, 30, 50, you know. People be like, yeah, there were some old people at this bar, you know. I didn't care because I just came for the vibes, you know. I really appreciated the free food. I came for the free food, why not, you know. So everybody is dancing, having a good time, you know. Get down on it, hey, everybody's dancing, everybody's grooving, everybody's having a great time. And then, like, so let's say we were in the middle, yeah? I was in the middle with Jared. On the left were the drunk, you know, bridal girls. And on the right was this one young lady. When I say young, I mean like she might have been like 27. And she was with maybe her mom or her auntie or a co-worker. I don't know, but this woman looked like she was like 55, 65, okay, maybe not 65, but she was definitely in her 50s. She was old, you know. And she was in her 50s, you know. And I look at her, I'm like, oh, yo, go dance, you know. She's like, no, you go dance, you know. And I don't know, I eventually ended up dancing. I stood up because everybody, like, the bar kind of turned into a club somehow, you know. I don't know how, I had never been there, but it turned into a club. And I said, you know what, you know, Jared and I were like, what is going on, you know. And I'm like, yo, I'm happy that we're here, let's enjoy the vibes. So, you know, me and Jared, we ended up standing up and dancing, we're having a good time, you know. And then the older lady comes, and then she's dancing, you know, she's dancing with her younger friend, the bridal babes, you know, they were dancing too, we were all dancing, having a good time. you know. And then I'm like, you know what? I need to use the washroom, you know, like I need to pee. I had to take a leak because, like I said, I drank a little, you know, and anytime I drink, you know, I need to, you know, go use the washroom. So I end up going upstairs to go and use the washroom, and guess who followed me upstairs? Auntie Grandma. Let's call her Auntie Grandma. Auntie Grandma follows me upstairs, and as I'm climbing the stairs, I feel someone touch my shoulder. And I'm a very like, you know, I'm a very like jittery person, you know. So when I see her, I'm like, yo, I'm like, oh, she's like, oh, it's just me. And I'm like, okay, for sure, you know. I didn't mind because, like, one, I guess it's because I'm a guy, and us guys, like, it's whatever. Like, if someone, it's whatever, you know. I don't really care. And she's old, you know, like, I don't expect her to do anything too crazy, you know. So then I end up, you know, climbing the stairs. I'm waiting to use the washroom. And then we're both upstairs, and she's like, you're so handsome, you know, where are you from? Right, she's flirting with me. She's telling me about how handsome she thinks I am. I'm like, Auntie, stop it. I'm like, Auntie, stop. Don't do that. But yeah, she's telling me about how handsome she thinks I am, you know, things like that. And was I uncomfortable? I was just surprised. I was like, this is crazy, you know. And then I try and, you know, go to the washroom. It's my turn. Mind you, there was no security that was manning the washroom because this is a bar, not a club. It somehow turned into a club, but then it's a bar. So there was no security. So I tried going into the washroom to use, you know, to do what I have to do. You guys, she follows me into the washroom, bro. She follows me into the washroom, and in my mind, I'm like, what's going on? You know, I'm like, well, this is crazy right now. She's in the washroom with me. I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. She's looking at me. I'm looking at her. And I'm like, Auntie, I'm so sorry. I can't, you know. I had to turn Auntie down, you know. I wasn't on any freaky timing, you know, because I'm not a freaky guy. But anyways, you know, she ends up leaving. I do what I have to do. She goes downstairs. I end up going downstairs as well, and we're all just chilling downstairs. I'm dancing, I'm vibing, I'm having a good time, you know. The bridesmaids or bridal women or whatever, they were more my age, you know. So I ended up dancing with one of them. We were chilling, having a good time, and it was time for me to go. And I was like, you know, I told the person I was dancing with, yo, I'm leaving soon. It's getting late, you know. Mind you, she was probably like 35, you know. She goes and she brings me a shot, and she kisses me on the cheek. You guys, the fact that this happened is so insane, you know. She kissed me on the cheek, and then she's like, have a good night. And I will say, she was good looking. Listen, if someone finds you attractive, especially for the guys, the girls will pay. If they find you attractive, they will pay. That was one of the more surprising things that happened. She paid for my shots, and that sent me home, you know. And I was leaving, and then the grandma saw me as well. She gave me a big hug. She was like, bye. And I was like, oh, you entered the washroom with me, which I didn't like. But, you know, but like I said, she's like 55, you know. And I hugged her, I said bye, and she kissed me on the cheek as well. I was like, wow. Mind you, all of these were white women, you know. So thing about dealing with white women is you have to be careful. You know, if you're black, you already know this. You have to be careful. You can't be doing the most. You know, I know that with younger white women, but with older white women, you know, it really did surprise me. It really did have me in shock, you know, at what was going on. But yeah, she ended up kissing me, and you know, Jared and I end up going back to the car, and I tell him everything that happened, and he's like, Dayo, what in the world was that? Like, that was crazy. And even I was like, that is insane, you know, the fact that happened. But yeah, you guys, that's a story time about, you know, how this 55-year-old woman was hitting on me, and she wanted to get with me in the washroom. Insane. But anyways, if you enjoyed the story time, like, comment, subscribe. If you enjoyed it, do all those good things and drop a comment. If you want more story times, let me know. Some of my subs were saying that I don't post real content, which is so annoying to me, because I literally take my time to post content and edit. You know, you're probably talking because I post my whole posting every day till I reach 100,000 YouTube subs thing. That is to keep me accountable, and that's to tell people about my goal, because I'm actually trying to, you know, I'm actually trying my best here, you know. So yeah, if you think that I don't make real content, please just unsubscribe. Like, I know how hard I've been trying to get here, you know, to even stand in front of you guys and talk in front of the camera. Like, it took a while. But anyways, I'll get back with you guys with another video tomorrow.